are ready for the distillation with the UDK series distillation unit. So let's see in detail all these steps. So let's start from the sample weighing, the step number 1 for the digestion process. We need to, in case we have a solid sample, we need to grind the sample and homogenize the sample. It's very important to grind the sample in order to get a particle size of the sample less 1 millimeter in order to have accurate results. Usually the sample weight is between a range of 1 to 3 grams, depending on the sample type, and you can weight the sample inside the nitrogen-free weighing boats. Here I have an example of a cracker that has been grinded in order to get a fine powder. So then we will homogenize this powder, and then we will take a representative aliquot for the digestion analysis. You can weight this sample directly inside a nitrogen-free weighing boat. This one that I have here. You can place the sample inside the weighing boat and weigh directly on the balance, and then place this weighing boat inside the sample directly in the test tube for the digestion step. In case we have liquid sample, we need to stir and mix the liquid sample using, for example, a magnetic stirrer. The sample volume also in this case depends on the sample type. Usually 20 up to 50 milliliters are okay. We suggest to measure this volume in a volumetric cylinder and pipette it inside the test tube. In case of drinks like, for example, beer, we suggest before the digestion to remove the CO2 before measuring the volume, both for solid and liquid sample. Then we will place them inside the Velp glass test tube. Oh, sorry. So then we have the acid and the catalyst addition. So in the same sample tube where we have placed the sample, we need to have the sulfuric acid concentrated about 96–98%. The volume depends on the sample type. Usually it is in a range from 12 up to 15 milliliters. Then you have to add the KJ-TAPS catalyst tablets. Usually you need to add 1 or 2 catalyst tablets, depending on the type of catalyst tablets and on the sample quantity. The KJ-TAPS are pre-dose tablets composed of sulfate that helps to increase the boiling point of the sulfuric acid with a metal, for example, copper, selenium or titanium, to improve the speed and efficiency of the digestion step. The addition of the KJ-TAPS catalyst tablets together with the high temperature will influence the speed and efficiency of the digestion in the Kjeldahl analysis according to the international standard procedures. We have several models of KJ-TAPS available with different composition, and the KJ-TAPS choice depends on the type of sample that you need to analyze. For example, if you want to analyze bread and baked products, we suggest the VKPC catalyst tablets with the copper sulfate inside. And if you have, for example, products like rich in fat, we also suggest to add, for example, the anti-foam tablets.
So you can choose the catalyst tablets depending on the application and the sample that you need to analyze. Here we have an example of a box of catalyst tablets that, for example, this one is a KJ Tabs VST containing selenium. If you order this box, you will receive 1,000 tablets to be used for the digestion process. The tablets are have this shape and these size, and these are 3.5 grams for each tablet, and you need to add 2 tablets in each sample tube during the digestion process. So step number 3, the digestion configuration. So we have added all the reagents and the sample that we need for the analysis in the test tube. Then we need to check that we have installed the correct configuration for the analysis. So we need to connect the digestion unit to the SMS scrubber for the neutralization of toxic fumes produced during the mineralization step, and the scrubber is connected to a JP pump, that is a recirculating water pump, for the aspiration of fumes. The pump permits to have 2 time mode selections depending on the model of the digestion unit connected in order to optimize the suction of the acid fumes during the analysis. In alternative, you can also control the suction of the fumes in a manual way. The first step is the digestion. So once we have added all the reagents and we have set up our digestion unit correctly, we can set the method and start the digestion. So the first thing to do is to set the temperature and time ramps. For a correct digestion step, we strongly recommend to follow the official methods or the procedures available in Velp operating manual delivered together with the units. In the majority of the methods, there are 2 or 3 temperature ramps to be set. Usually, the temperature for the digestion is 420 degrees Celsius. And we suggest, depending on the type of sample, to reach gradually this temperature by setting, for example, 2 or 3 ramps at a lower temperature before reaching 420. You have the possibility to select from the main menu of the DK or DKL unit the method. You have just also preset methods or customized method, and you have to enter you can select or enter the data for your sample. Once you are ready for the analysis in the KL unit, automatically the samples inside the test tubes are lower inside the digestion unit to start the heating and the process of mineralization for the time indicated in the method that you have selected. At the end of the time setted, we should have a clear and colorless solution. So in this case, we will be sure that our digestion was performed in a correct way, and our sample are ready for the distillation process. This is the main window of the DKL unit. From menu bottom, we can choose different features and options. For example, we have the possibility to choose the language. We have available several languages from English, Espanol, Francais, Italiano, depending on the customer language. For example, in this case, we chose English, so we press OK. Then we come back to the main menu, and then we have the possibility to set the program. So we select programs, we press OK, and we have two options, standard methods or personal methods. In this case, for example, I will choose a standard methods. So all the parameters are already set inside the method. And I have the list of the methods available inside this software. For example, the first one is about the milk and derived products of milk. So we choose this method, for example, pressing OK. And we enter in the method. The method will show the name of the method and the information about the temperature of the method. As we can see from the display, we have 3 ramps for this analysis. The first ramp is at 150 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Then we will switch to the second ramp with the temperature of 250 for other 15 minutes. And then we will have the digestion at 420 degrees Celsius for 40 minutes. At the end of this time, in an automatic way, the digestion unit will stop the heating and will start the cooling process of the test tubes. The sample are during the cooling step are automatically raised from the DKL digestion units and cool, reaching the temperature between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. So the suction cup is separated from the test tube, and we can use also a deep tray to collect the drops that comes out from the glass of the test tubes. And the samples inside the test tubes now are ready for the distillation process. So we can take the sample tube and place it in the UDK series distillation unit for the distillation and or titration step. So now we will focus on the analytical troubleshooting. Now we have clear all the digestion process, and we will see which analytical troubleshooting we can face during the real analysis of different samples. So a first issue or troubleshooting that we can face could be the high foam production. So during the digestion, the samples produce high foam, and at the end of digestion, the digestion is not complete. One reason could be that the method set is not correct in terms of temperature and ramps. So as I told you before, it's very important to, depending on the sample, to reach 420 degrees Celsius, for example, gradually. So I need to set the ramps for a specific time before reaching the 420 degrees Celsius in order to avoid the foam production during the digestion step. Another reason could be the not use of the anti-foam. We have different catalyst tablets, as I showed you before, and between them we have also the anti-foam tablet DS. It should be placed in the same test tube together with the catalyst tablet, the sample, and the sulfuric acid before starting the digestion step. A second troubleshooting is the black particles. The black particles are on the test tube wall, and we can also get a black sample. On the right side of the slide, you can see a complete digestion with the green flag. It means that at the end of digestion, I get a clear and colorless digested sample. And with X, red X, an incomplete digestion. It means that the sample is totally black with black particles on the test tube wall. One reason could be not correct sample preparation. What does it mean? It means that, for example, I didn't grind it or homogenize or took a representative alipot of the sample to be placed inside the test tube. So that's why it's very important to grind, to homogenize the sample before transfer the sample inside the test tube and to start the digestion. Another reason could be high foam formation. So as I told before, it's very important if at the end of the analysis I can't get a clear colorless digested sample to add the anti-foam tablet in the test tube together with the sample. This is especially needed for oil fatty samples that produce high foam during the digestion step. Another reason for getting these black particles is not correct method set. So we need to set the method in order to reach 420 degrees Celsius for the digestion gradually, and usually in 90, 120 minutes we can get a complete digestion and get a clear and colorless digested sample. A third troubleshooting could be lower results than expected. So the obtained nitrogen content of my sample is lower than the expected. So the first reason could be not correct weight and transfer of the sample in test tube. Which could be the solution? The solution is, for example, if the sample is solid, we need to weigh up to 1, 2, 3 grams of the sample in Velp nitrogen-free weighing boats in order to be sure to transfer all the sample inside the test tube and not to lose it. Then we need to record the weight in a precise way, and also the particle size of the sample is very important. If we follow the official standard procedures, we need to get the particle size less than 1 millimeter. This will assure to get accurate results. And of course, homogenize the sample before weighing it. Another reason for getting a low nitrogen content could be not complete digestion. So as we saw before, if we have black particles on the test tube wall, it means that I lost some sample and then I will get lower nitrogen content in my sample. So it's very important to follow the procedures indicated in the standard methods or in the methods available in Velp operating manuals in order to get a complete digestion of my sample. Another reason for low nitrogen content could be not correct use of the catalyst tablet. As I showed you before, it's very important to choose the catalyst tablet depending on the sample type. They have different composition and each composition is specific for a specific application depending on the sample. So you need to check the composition of the catalyst tablet before using it for your sample and following also the suggestion given in the official methods for the best type of catalyst tablets to be used during the digestion step. Another troubleshooting, the fourth one, is the break of the test tube. So during the digestion, unfortunately, sometimes it can happen that the test tube breaks during the digestion step. And this is very important to avoid this troubleshooting during the analysis because you are at 420 degrees Celsius using a sulfuric acid. So it's very important to be sure to work in safety conditions. So one reason of this break could be the use of damaged or old test tubes. We suggest always to use undamaged test tubes and to check the test tubes that doesn't have any cracks before starting the digestion. Also, we recommend the use of genuine Velp original test tubes in order to be sure to have the correct configuration for the analysis. Another reason of the break of a test tube is the use of wet test tube. If we have some water drops outside of test tubes and we place them inside a hot heating block, we can have the break of test tube. So it's very important to dry always the test tubes before placing them in the digestion block. Another reason could be the dirty heating block. So the heating block holes can be dirty, and it's very important to clean the heating block before starting a new digestion process. The fifth analytical troubleshooting could be the not correct acid fumes aspirations. So during the digestion, we saw that we have the production of acid fumes, and sometimes it can happen that they are not aspirated and neutralized in a correct way. Why does it happen? It can happen, for example, because we don't have a correct configuration of the digestion unit with the JP pump or SMS scrubber. So it's very important to work in safety conditions by connecting the digestion unit DK or DKL series to JP pump and SMS scrubber unit for fumes aspiration and neutralization. If we use this complete system, I can also work outside of the fume hood and in safe conditions. Sometimes it can happen that the scrubber bottle of NaOH can be imploded. These could be different reasons, but the most important one is that inside of this bottle we have a black diffuser with different holes, and inside we place an NaOH solution, usually 1 liter, in order to reach half of the bottle. And if we leave this black diffuser inside the NaOH for a long time without maintenance and cleaning it, and then we start a new digestion, it can happen that the holes has inside some crystals of the NaOH. And so they are not able to produce bubbles during the aspiration of fumes, and the bottle will implode. Once the bottle is imploded, you have to replace with a new one. So our suggestion is always to clean the black diffuser inside the scrubber unit before starting the digestion, and to check that everything is properly connected before starting the digestion process. Another reason could be the low fumes aspirations. As I told you, the JP pump has the possibility to select two time modes for an optimum aspiration of the fumes. The time mode depends on the digestion unit connected, so the numbers of the test tubes connected, and you have also the possibility to control it in a manual way in order to have the correct fumes aspiration during the digestion analysis. So we now finish and we saw the most important analytical troubleshooting. And in this slide, you can see a complete package. What does it mean? It means that if you order the digestion unit, you receive a complete package with all the accessories needed in order to work in a safe conditions. The digestion unit should be connected always to SMS scrubber unit and JP pump for fumes aspiration. Now we'll have a very brief verification test, just to check that the information given were correct and clear for you. So the verification test rules are, we have each different 3 questions, and each question has 4 different possible answers. Only one single answer for each question. You have 30 seconds for each question, and you can answer directly in the chat, and then we will see the correct answer after each question. So let's start from question number 1. If at the end of the digestion step, this solution is not clear with black particles, can be due to A, not correct use of V receiver solution. B, not correct time and temperature of the digestion. C, not correct use of sodium hydroxide. D, all the previous answers. You have 30 seconds, then you can write the correct answer in the chat. We saw before this analytical troubleshooting, and we saw that it's very important to choose the correct method, and in order to gradually reaches the temperature of the analysis, that is 420 degrees Celsius. Okay, let's see which is the correct answer. So the correct answer is the B. B, not correct time and temperature of the digestion. It's very important to set the correct temperature and the time for the analysis depending on the sample type, and also to reach gradually the 420 degrees Celsius for the analysis. So question number 2. If the sample is not transferred in the test tube completely, this can cause A, the obtained result is lower than expecting. B, the result is correct. C, the digestion is too long. D, all the previous answers. We saw before that it's very important to grind the sample, to homogenize the sample, and to take a representative aliquot of the sample in order to get accurate results. So the correct answer is the answer A, and this can cause lower result than expected. In fact, for example, if you have a solid sample and you lose some sample during the weighing step because you are not using, for example, the nitrogen-free weighing boats, you will not transfer the correct weight of the sample inside the test tube, and you will get lower nitrogen content at the end of the analysis. The last question, number 3. During the digestion, the sample produces high foam and the digestion is not complete. This can be due to A, not use of anti-foam, B, not use of an AOH, C, not use of weighing boats, D, all the previous answers. We saw that we can have the production of high foam, especially for oil and fatty samples. And so it's very important to set the correct temperature and time ramps, but also it's very important to use, the correct answer is A, the anti-foam, together with the catalyst tablets to be placed inside the test tube. So this was the last question. Thank you for your attention, and I hope all the information were clear. Feel free to contact us for any questions you may need or for any answer you may need. Thank you. Bye.